They declared me dead during childbirth. My husband's mistress wore my wedding dress to celebrate. His mother tried to steal my newborn and sell my second baby. But I wasn't dead. I was in a coma, hearing every evil word, and when I woke up, I destroyed them all. Before this story begins, hit that subscribe button right now because what you're about to hear will leave you speechless. This is about betrayal, survival, and the most savage revenge you've ever seen. Don't you dare skip to the end. Every second matters. Now, let's begin. My name is Samantha, and I need to tell you about the day I died. Except I didn't die. Not really, but they wanted me to. God, how they wanted me to. It started 16 hours into labor. 16 excruciating hours of pain that felt like my body was tearing itself apart from the inside. The contractions came in waves so powerful I thought I might break in half. My husband, Andrew, stood in the corner of the delivery room, and I remember looking at him through my tears, desperate for comfort, for his hand, for anything. But he wasn't looking at me. He was on his phone. Actually, on his phone while I was screaming in agony. The doctor kept saying everything was fine, that first babies take time, that I was doing great. But then something changed. I felt it before anyone else did, this warmth spreading beneath me. Too much warmth. The nurse's face went white. She pressed the emergency button, and suddenly there were people everywhere, shouting medical terms I didn't understand. The last thing I heard clearly was the doctor yelling, "She's hemorrhaging! We're losing her!" My vision started to blur, darkening at the edges like someone was slowly turning down the lights. The heart monitor's steady beep became one long, endless scream, and in that moment, as everything faded to black, I heard Andrew's voice, not crying, not panicking, just asking flatly, "Is the baby okay?" Not, "Is my wife okay?" Not, "Save her, please save her." Just concern for the baby. That should have told me everything I needed to know. Then there was nothing. Complete darkness. Complete silence. I thought that was it. I thought I was dead. But then I started to hear things. Muffled voices, the sound of wheels on linoleum, cold air on my skin. I tried to open my eyes, tried to scream, tried to move even a single finger. Nothing worked. My body was a prison, and I was trapped inside it. I heard a sheet being pulled over my face. I felt the texture of it against my nose, my lips. I heard the doctor's tired voice, "Time of death, 3:47 a.m." And I was screaming inside my head, "I'm not dead, I'm alive, I'm right here!" But no sound came out. Nothing moved. I was being wheeled somewhere. I could feel the motion, hear the squeaking wheels. The morgue. Oh God, they were taking me to the morgue. The metal table was so cold beneath my back. I could feel every degree of that cold, but I couldn't shiver, couldn't react. I heard the morgue attendant humming some song, heard him moving around, preparing to do whatever it is they do to dead bodies. My mind was racing with terror. This is how it ends, I thought. Conscious but paralyzed while they... Wait. The attendant's voice cut through my panic. Wait, I feel a pulse. Oh my God, I feel a pulse. The next few hours were chaos. I was rushed back to the emergency room. I heard machines beeping, people shouting orders, Andrew's voice in the distance asking what was happening. And then a doctor, a different doctor, explaining something to Andrew in a calm, professional tone that made my blood run cold. "Your wife is in what we call a locked-in state. It's an extremely rare condition. She's in a deep coma, but there's a possibility she can hear and process what's happening around her, even though she can't respond in any way. We have her on life support now." There was a long pause. And then Andrew asked, and I'll never forget the tone of his voice, "Can she recover?" "It's unlikely," the doctor said. "Maybe a 5% chance. She could be like this for months, years, or she may never wake up." I waited for Andrew to break down, to cry, to beg them to do everything possible. Instead, I heard him say, "I need to make some calls," and he walked away. That's when I heard her voice for the first time. His mother, Margaret. I'd always known she didn't like me, but the coldness in her voice that day was something else entirely. "So she's a vegetable now?" Margaret said it like she was asking about the weather. "We don't use that term," the doctor replied, clearly uncomfortable. "How long do we keep her like this?" Margaret pressed. "What's the protocol?" "Mrs. Mitchell, your daughter-in-law is a human being who is brain-dead and costing money every minute she lays there. I'm asking you, doctor, what are our options?" I heard the doctor sigh. "After 30 days, if there's no improvement, the family can discuss options regarding life support." 30 days, Margaret repeated. "That's manageable." They left, and I was alone with the beeping machines and my screaming thoughts. But then, through some miracle or curse, I heard them again. A nurse had accidentally left a baby monitor on in my room, and it was picking up voices from the hallway. Andrew's voice, Margaret's voice, and a third voice I recognized immediately, Jennifer, Andrew's assistant, the woman I'd suspected he was having an affair with for months. "This is actually perfect," Margaret was saying. "Perfect?" Andrew sounded confused. "Mom, my wife is in a coma." "Exactly. She's as good as dead, Andrew. You have the baby, you'll have the insurance money, and Jennifer can finally step into her rightful place." "But she's still technically alive," Andrew said, and I noticed he didn't sound horrified. He sounded uncertain, like he was working through a problem. "Not for long," Margaret said. "Hospitals hate keeping coma patients. Too expensive. Give it 30 days, then we pull the plug. Clean, legal. No one will suspect anything." "What about her parents?" Andrew asked. "I'll handle them. We tell them she's already dead. Closed casket funeral, cremation, the whole thing. They live 4 states away. They'll never know the difference." Jennifer's voice was soft, almost gentle. "Are you sure about this?" "Darling," Margaret said, and I could hear the smile in her voice. "I've never been more sure of anything. Soon you'll have everything you've ever wanted. The house, the husband, the baby, everything." I was screaming. Inside my head, I was screaming so loud I thought surely someone would hear, but my body lay still as death. 3 days later, a nurse came in talking to another nurse about that poor woman's baby. I learned I'd had a girl. They were calling her Madison, not Hope, the name I'd chosen. Margaret had changed it. "The grandmother is very controlling," one nurse whispered. "She won't even let the mother's parents visit. Said they're too emotional, not on the approved list." "That's awful," the other nurse replied. "And did you see that woman who keeps visiting? The husband's girlfriend? She's already acting like the baby's mother." "I know, it's sick. The poor woman's not even dead yet, and they've already replaced her." "Not even dead yet?" Those words echoed in my mind. I was a ghost haunting my own life, watching it be stolen piece by piece. My father called the hospital on day 5. I heard the receptionist on the phone in the hallway. "I'm sorry, sir, you're not on the approved visitor list. No, I understand you're her father, but I have strict orders from the husband and mother-in-law. No, sir, I can't override it. I'm very sorry." Then my father must have called Margaret, because I heard her on the phone an hour later, standing right outside my door. "George, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but Samantha didn't make it. She passed away early this morning. It was very peaceful. Andrew is devastated, of course. We're planning a small funeral. I'll call you with the details." She hung up. There was no funeral being planned. My parents thought I was dead, and I couldn't tell them I was alive. Tears rolled down my face, the only thing my body would do, and a nurse wiped them away gently, thinking it was just an automatic response. By day 7, Jennifer had moved into my house. I knew because the nurses talked about everything. "Can you believe it?" one said while checking my vitals. His girlfriend moved in. "They're having some kind of party tonight. A welcome home baby party. The baby's only a week old and the mother is right here in a coma." What kind of people are these? The party. I heard about it in bits and pieces from the nursing staff over the next few days. Margaret had sent my parents the wrong address and time. They'd shown up 2 hours late to find the party in full swing. Jennifer holding my baby, Andrew introducing her as Madison's new mother, my mother screaming, my father trying to get past security, Margaret having them forcibly removed from the property. "That's my daughter's baby!" My mother had cried, "That's my granddaughter!" And Margaret had replied, cold as ice, "Not anymore. You have no rights here." The nurses were appalled. Some wanted to report it, but report what? Being cruel isn't illegal. So I lay there, day after day, listening to my life being erased. Jennifer was wearing my clothes, sleeping in my bed, raising my daughter. They'd thrown away all my photos, redecorated the nursery, changed everything that reminded them of me. On day 14, Margaret met with an insurance agent in the hospital cafeteria. One of my nurses overheard and told another nurse right outside my door, thinking I couldn't hear. That woman is actually discussing life insurance while her daughter-in-law is upstairs in a coma. She was asking when they could claim the $500,000. The agent told her not until life support is removed and death is declared. She actually smiled and said, "That's day 30. Perfect." They were counting down the days until they could kill me legally. But then, on day 20, everything changed in a way none of us expected. Dr. Martinez requested an urgent meeting with Andrew. I heard Andrew's annoyed voice in the hallway. "What now? I'm very busy." "Mr. Mitchell, it's about your wife's delivery. There's something you weren't informed about." Dr. Martinez sounded nervous. "I'm listening." "Your wife delivered twins. 2 babies. Twin girls." The silence that followed was deafening. "What?" Andrew's voice was barely a whisper. "What did you just say?" "During the emergency, your wife delivered twins. The second baby needed intensive care. She's been in the NICU this entire time. She's stable now and—" "Why wasn't I told?" Andrew's voice was rising. "We tried to inform you multiple times, but you said to handle all medical matters and not bother you with details unless absolutely necessary. We've been focused on keeping both babies healthy. The second baby is thriving now and ready to— Who knows about this? Just the medical staff directly involved. The baby hasn't been named yet. We were waiting for you to— Don't tell anyone else. No one. Do you understand?" Dr. Martinez hesitated. "Mr. Mitchell, this is your daughter. Your wife's daughter. You can't just— I said don't tell anyone. I need to think." Within an hour, Andrew was back with Margaret and Jennifer. I heard every word through the nurse's station outside my room. Margaret was furious. "2 babies? 2? Why didn't you check? Why didn't you ask?" I didn't know," Andrew was stammering. "This complicates everything," Margaret hissed. "1 baby we can explain. We have Madison. Everyone's seen her. But a second baby? People will ask questions. Where has she been? Why didn't we mention her?" "So what do we do?" Jennifer asked. There was a long, terrible pause. Then Margaret said something that made my heart monitor spike so violently that alarms went off. "We get rid of her." "What?" Andrew sounded shocked, but not shocked enough. "The second baby. We give her up for adoption, privately. I have a friend who's been desperate for a baby. She'll pay $100,000, no questions asked, cash." "You want to sell my daughter?" Andrew said, but his voice lacked conviction. "She's not your daughter. She's a complication, a loose end. 1 baby keeps your image as the devoted single father. 2 babies? That's suspicious. People will dig into why we never mentioned her, why she was hidden. They'll find out about Jennifer, about everything." "Your mother's right," Jennifer added quietly. "It's cleaner this way. 1 baby, 1 family, no complications." The alarms were still going off. Nurses rushed in, checked my vitals, tried to figure out what caused the spike. One nurse looked at my face and gasped. "Her eyes! There are tears. Fresh tears." "Automatic response," another nurse said dismissively. "Happens with coma patients." But the first nurse didn't look convinced. She left my room and immediately found a supervisor. I heard them talking in hushed, urgent tones outside. Something's wrong. The mother's heart rate spiked right when those people were discussing. "I think she can hear them. I think she heard what they're planning." "We need to call social services," the supervisor said. "And security. They're planning to sell a baby." "Can we prove it?" "We have to try." That night, day 29, just hours before they were scheduled to pull my plug, something miraculous happened. Or maybe it was pure rage that brought me back. Maybe my body finally listened to my mind screaming at it to move, to fight, to wake up. At 11:47 p.m., my right index finger twitched. The night nurse saw it. She called the doctor. By midnight, my fingers were moving consistently. By 1 a.m., my eyes were fluttering. And at 2:17 a.m. on day 29, after nearly 30 days in hell, my eyes opened. The first word I managed to whisper was, babies. Not baby, babies. Plural. Dr. Martinez was there. Mrs. Mitchell, Samantha, can you hear me? Can you understand me? Both, I whispered. My babies, both of them. Where? His eyes widened. You know about the twins? I looked directly at him and I let him see everything in my eyes, all the pain, all the rage, all the knowledge. I heard everything, every single word, for 29 days. The doctor's face went pale. Everything? The party, the girlfriend, the plan to pull the plug, the plan to sell my daughter. My voice was getting stronger with each word. I heard it all. Within minutes, there was a flurry of activity. The hospital social worker was called, security was notified, and I asked them to call my parents. When they walked into my room 3 hours later and saw me sitting up, awake, alive, my mother collapsed. My father caught her, and they both just sobbed, holding each other and staring at me like I was a ghost. They told us you were dead, my father said through his tears. They said you were cremated. We mourned you, baby girl. We mourned you. I know, Dad. I heard everything. I told them all of it. Every evil word. Every cruel plan. The social worker's face grew more horrified with each detail. This is criminal, she said. Multiple crimes. We need to contact the police immediately. There's something else, I said. I made a will when I was pregnant. I suspected Andrew was cheating. I updated everything. If something happened to me, custody goes to my parents. The insurance goes into a trust for my children. Andrew gets nothing. My father's lawyer arrived within the hour. Turned out I'd been more prepared than I knew. I'd also installed hidden security cameras in my house months before. They'd captured everything. Jennifer moving in, the party, all of it. At 10 a.m. on day 30. The exact time they were scheduled to pull my plug, Andrew, Margaret, and Jennifer walked into the hospital. Margaret was carrying papers. Jennifer was wearing my perfume. I could smell it from down the hall. They were laughing about something. They walked toward the ICU and Dr. Martinez intercepted them. Before you go in, he started. We don't have time, Margaret snapped. We have the legal papers. We're terminating life support today. I really think you should. Dr. Martinez tried again, but Margaret pushed past him. Andrew and Jennifer followed. They opened the door to my room. I was sitting up in bed, fully awake, staring right at them. The coffee cup in Andrew's hand fell to the floor and shattered. Jennifer let out a scream. Margaret actually stumbled backward into the doorframe. Hello, I said, my voice clear and strong. Surprised to see me? Andrew's mouth opened and closed like a fish. No words came out. What's wrong? I continued. You look like you've seen a ghost, but I'm not a ghost, am I? I'm very much alive. This isn't possible, Margaret whispered. You were brain dead. No, I said. I was in a coma. There's a difference. And you know what's interesting about certain types of comas? Sometimes you can hear everything. Every single thing. Jennifer tried to run, but when she turned, there were 2 police officers standing in the doorway. Nobody move, one of them said. I looked at Andrew and I smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Did you tell them about our second daughter? Oh, wait, you were planning to sell her for $100,000. I remember now. I heard that plan too. Andrew went completely white. Second, you know about my twins? Yes, Andrew. About both of my daughters. The one Jennifer's been pretending is hers, and the one you were going to sell to Margaret's friend. Margaret lunged forward, but the officers stopped her. You can't prove any of that. You were in a coma. You couldn't hear. Want to bet? I gestured to the social worker who was holding a folder. Security footage from my house, which I had installed months ago when I suspected the affair, recordings of your conversations in the hospital hallways, testimony from nurses who heard everything, phone records, bank statements showing Andrew's already spent $50,000 of my savings. Want me to go on? The police officer stepped forward. Andrew Mitchell, you're under arrest for attempted child trafficking, fraud, conspiracy to commit murder, and theft. Margaret Mitchell, you're under arrest as an accessory to all of the above. Jennifer, he looked at her, you're being detained for questioning regarding fraud and conspiracy charges. My mother walked in then, carrying a baby in each arm, both my daughters, finally together. She placed them carefully on my bed, one on each side of me. I looked down at them, identical little faces, sleeping peacefully, and the tears finally came. This one, I said, touching the baby on my left, is hope, like I always wanted. And this one, I touched the baby on my right, is grace, because that's what saved me. Grace. Andrew was being handcuffed. He looked at me with something that might have been regret. Samantha, I cut him off. Don't you dare speak to me. Don't you dare speak to my daughters. You're nothing to us now. Nothing. Margaret was screaming obscenities as they led her away. Jennifer was crying, her mascara running down her face, begging for someone to believe she didn't know about the baby-selling plan. But I was done listening to them. I was done being the victim in my own life. 3 months later, I stood in a courtroom and watched them all get sentenced. Andrew got 8 years for attempted child trafficking and fraud. Margaret got 5 years for conspiracy and attempted murder. Because yes, pulling the plug on someone who might recover counts as attempted murder. Jennifer got 3 years as an accomplice. I got full custody of Hope and Grace. Andrew lost all parental rights permanently. There's a restraining order. They have to stay 500 feet away from us for the rest of their lives. The house was sold and every penny went into a trust for my daughters. The insurance money, all $500,000, is locked away for their education. I moved in with my parents, at least temporarily, started writing a book about my experience. It became a bestseller, and now I travel around the country speaking about patients' rights, about trusting your instincts, about fighting for yourself even when you can't fight. But my favorite part of every day is right now. I'm sitting in the park, watching Hope and Grace toddle around on unsteady legs. They're 6 months old, wearing matching yellow dresses that my mother made. They're smiling, laughing, reaching for butterflies they'll never catch. Andrew tried to bury me. Margaret tried to erase me. Jennifer tried to replace me. But they forgot something important. I'm a mother, and you don't bury mothers. You plant them, and we grow back stronger, fiercer, more determined than ever. My daughters will grow up knowing their mother fought for them from inside a coma. They'll know that love is stronger than evil, that truth always surfaces, that karma never forgets. And me? I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Alive, free, victorious. They wanted me dead, but I'm not easy to kill. And I came back for everything they tried to take, and that's how I went from coma victim to victorious mother. If this story shook you to your core, slam that like button and share this everywhere. Comment below, what would you have done to Margaret? And hit subscribe because more shocking true stories are coming your way. Remember, karma doesn't forget, and a mother's love is the most powerful force on earth. I'll see you in the next one.